everybody. We are back today. We have a great show coming. So today we're going to talk to TJ Barnes. He's a former Chiefs player. He also played for the Jets. He went to the XFL. He has a really, really interesting story. Looks like he's on here now. I'm going to go ahead and add him. We're going to talk about overcoming obstacles. We're going to talk about having confidence. And then we're going to talk about his work in the community that he's already done. So let me go ahead and add him now. Okay, so I just sent over the invite. So I hope you guys are having a great Friday. Hey, TJ.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Can't complain.
Great. Well, I'm so happy that I got to sit down. I was looking at some of your podcasts and stuff, and I know that you like media. What kind of got you involved with doing media outside of doing just playing sports and going to work?
It was kind of weird because I've never been the type of person that just was really vocal about my opinions or things that I wanted to say. If you talk to people who I grew up with or went to college with, there was like, TJ started a podcast. Like, does he even talk? So, yeah, that was weird, but I just felt as though I started around 2016. It was around when Kaepernick had took a knee and stuff. And I just felt as though I had something to say about just things that are going on in sports and just trying to give athletes the platform just to talk about how they feel about certain things. So, yeah, that was really it. And I've done like multiple podcasts since then, and just it's something that I just love doing.
Wow. I mean, you're really good at it. So the fact that you just kind of hopped on it, it's like, wow, that's just like a natural thing. So what Kaepernick was doing really pushed you to do it. I mean, obviously the need for speaking, the need for change, but what particularly about that made you say?
It just really just let me know that I have a voice about anything. I wasn't just an athlete, because usually athletes just talk when it comes to politics, things that are going on in the world, you don't really talk about that in the media. You just talk about what's going on with the team, like, oh, we had a good practice, and that's it. And with him taking the knee, it just gave me and a lot of athletes who were paying attention around that time just the courage to stand up and just talk about things that are going on in the world, whether it's dealing with the politics or injustices that are going on in the world, whatever the case may be. Because you see now, a lot of people who come out and say oh, you're just an athlete and stick to that. And no, we have a voice now. We can come out and speak about things because we actually have influence on the younger communities and people actually listen to us. So yeah, it just gave me the influence to be like that.
That's so powerful. I feel because I played college basketball, my brother, I feel like he and I were both told that, we should focus on sports. We should focus on education. We shouldn't focus on, what's going on in the world. And my brother actually went to law school after I did. And a lot of people were shocked because I think that the image of an athlete is, and I don't think that most athletes fit into that box of what people think y'all should be. And that's why it's really admirable that you stepped outside the box and did something that a lot of people probably were curious that you could do. It's so many different factors that goes into that. I read this book called $40 Million Slave, and they were talking about conveyor belt, meaning they wanted to keep athletes doing one thing, focused on one thing. And honestly, you all are so much more than that. And now, the athletes now, you can tell that they understand that they're more than that too, because a lot of people are going outside the box.
Exactly, because I can remember this reflect all the way through high school. It was just always focused on athletic school. You don't talk about anything else outside of that. And then when that dynamic happened with Colin Kaepernick, it was all right, cool. You start seeing everything from black and white versus you start seeing the color and everything. It was all right, I actually can stand up and say things, and I'm not afraid about the repercussions, things like that, because I'm actually speaking on something that's positive and trying to reflect change and stuff. So,
and that's the thing too. I think it's so unfortunate that a lot of athletes do feel like they will get repercussions if they just speak out about what's going on, you know, with their literal family, their community. People ask me all the time, even as an attorney, and say, well, don't you feel like, you know, you'll get in trouble, or don't you feel like it'll mess up your career? And I'm like, why would it, when I'm literally fighting for my community? And
Right.
because then that's a look that looks bad on the profession of the law. It doesn't look bad on me. I think it's such a big deal. One thing about it, in order to become at the highest level, which you have to have a certain level of discipline, you have to have a certain level of sacrifice, you have to have a certain level of intelligence. But that's what some people would say athletes don't have. And it's like, no, they do have that. So you're kind of breaking the mold on that. Can we talk about like overcoming obstacles? Well, first off, let's talk about confidence. In order to get to the place that you've gotten multiple times, you've had to have a level of confidence. How do you have that confidence? How do you maintain that confidence? And what advice do you have for people who feel like they don't have it?
It's different for everybody. I got my confidence just by just hunger, to be honest with you, just want to be like that dog, whether it's in football or just in podcasting or just me just in school right now. I just want to be the very best, and just I thrive off competition. And I know, like during practice, you'll see somebody else win or whatever the case may be. I'm like, oh, I gotta top him or whatever. Just or whether it's just talking shit or just things like that. It just eventually just came with me. And I have brothers and siblings and stuff, so our brothers and sisters and stuff. So just competing with them all the time, and it just created something to me like you just gotta be better than the next person that's next to you. And so that's where I just got it from. And it just came from just really hard work. And I knew whether I put my mind to, I was going to really do it. And then after I put the effort into that, the confidence just came like, all right, I know what I'm doing. It's just repetition. That's it. And so whether I go onto the game field or pull on my computer or get on the mic, it's just I know like I've done the work, so it's going to eventually work out and turn out to be good. So.
Wow, you said three big things. So competition, repetition, and work. I
Yeah.
think some people think competition looks at it as a bad thing. I just did a podcast with two of my college teammates and a WNBA coach, former player. We both talked about that, where it was times where Jasmine and I, one of my friends, Jasmine Lovejoy, we would be competing, and it's like she wants to get better and I want to get better. It's a positive, but people look at it as a negative. And then repetition. Ooh, I literally do that every day. I talk about building confidence and building self-esteem, because I thought because I was successful and because I always achieved certain things that self-esteem was owed to me. And I didn't build it every day with repetition, with affirmations, with working out, with eating certain things. So I've really been working on that. And then work. Like, that's one thing. People do not focus on the process, focus on and man. So I looked up some of your old interviews and stuff that you did.
Oh, shit.
Out of college, going to the league and stuff like that. They were talking about your size. They were saying he's 6'6", 6'7", he's this, he's that. So when you first came in, did you feel like there were obstacles to becoming the man that you wanted to be in the league?
Yeah, because the biggest thing was for me was just trying to show people that I could play at my size, so it didn't matter like what my weight was, to be honest, as long as I can go out there and just do what I could. So that was the biggest obstacle that I really had to play. And when I went to the Jaguars, they didn't really see as like it being like a positive thing and stuff. And I still really had to learn the game. But it took me going to the New York Jets and me getting on like good tutelage on Rex Ryan and Carl Dunbar, who really was able just to teach me the game and just let me go. And I was able to dominate in my position and stuff. So that was one of like the biggest obstacles I had to overcome. And just, being able to be 6'7", 345 pounds and be athletic to play, whether it's the one technique, which is right above the center, or like on the five, which is right outside of the tackle. So just being able to show I can play all across the board was like one of the hardest challenges that I had to do, but I was able to overcome that.
Wow. So I know you were in Kansas City for a short time. I know got promoted from the practice squad to the regular
Mm-hmm.
December. And then come time for June, you said, I looked at one of your interviews, you were saying like it was a shock. You were even approached by one of your coaches to have plans for the next season. What
Mm-hmm.
like what was it like being here, and then when you left and you kind of saw where the team went, how did that
Mm-hmm. Well, it was dope because I thought that I was going to retire in Kansas City. Same thought I had when I was with New York. But Kansas City just really embraced me, really just, welcomed me. They brought me on the practice squad because I forget who was hurt. And then they went down to Denver and played on that, I think Saturday or Sunday night, and realized they needed more linemen. So they bumped me up and I played in the Falcons game the following week. But it was love. That's where I got my inspiration to start a podcast and stuff, and fell in love with the city. Going down, I forget where's that. Fall in love with the barbecue. Fall in love like with downtown, the movie theater, just all different type of things, stuff that I was exposed to, and it just gave me that home feeling, like I was like where I'm from in Enterprise, Alabama, and
Mhm.
it had the city part, and then you could get on the outside or whatever, and just be to yourself and stuff, um, and then being cut was probably like one of the toughest things I had to go through throughout my whole career because I felt as though I was going to get a contract extension and my agent was talking back and forth with management. And then when I got cut, it was just like a real shocker because it was something that I never expected. I knew I was going to get cut in Jacksonville. I knew that I was going to get cut eventually, the way things were going in New York, but I never seen that coming with Kansas City because I had such a great season before, and then I had a good off season coming up to that and stuff. So didn't see that coming. Just it was really devastating. Then I was happy actually just to see them succeed and win the championship and things of that nature and the success that they have now. I'm just extremely proud of those guys who I still know that are still there, like Chris Jones and stuff, and the Reeds who really embraced me when I was there and stuff. So excuse me, but overall, it was a really good time. Other than one negative I can't say other than getting cut, they shut my first podcast down because they didn't want any negative backlash from the topics that I was talking about, as far as like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee and things of that nature. And it kind of weirded me out just a little bit because I was like, all right, cool. Travis Kelce, he has a show. So why can't I have the show? And the media people were saying that I didn't have the clout like Travis did, so I had to shut my stuff down, and the rest is history. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah.
I wonder why. Forget about clout, but that is how it is. Like if you work at a certain job, and honestly,
Mhm.
that's why I started my own law firm because I was like, I can't be censored, and I need to be able to say what I need to say. Um,
Mhm.
but that is crazy that happened. Um, so after that, I know you had went through another period. So it's like it seems like you periods. I know you had went vegan. You worked out.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember the whole. You went to the XFL. You
Mhm.
worked for Stanley Steamer. You signed you a contract with the
Mhm.
Stanley Steamer shirt on, which was so cute.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'll tell you how that happened. So after I left Kansas City, I said F football. I wasn't going to play, so I went to coach for a little bit. Then I got an offer from the CFL. Left. I quit coaching. Went to the CFL for a week. Didn't like it. Came back. Um, let's see. So that was then the following year. They're bringing up this other football league called the AAF, and then I was like 400 pounds, things of that nature. Like I had a daughter coming in and stuff. I was just like my whole life was just like all across the board, and I just didn't really know which way to go. And so it took me picking up a book by Dr. Ian Smith, and it just taught me how to eat properly, things of that nature. Taught me about intermittent fasting, just the whole 9 yards and stuff. So I picked up that book, started eating right, started working out a little bit more, and was able to get my weight down from 405 pounds to 345 pounds in less than like 2 months, and was able to become one of the best players in that league, which got me a chance to sign to the Carolina Panthers. I had my Stanley Steamer shirt on. Oh, I had to backtrack a little bit, and during that whole training, I was working like 6 or 7 jobs and things of that nature, just trying to support my family and whatnot. And Stanley Steamer was one of those jobs. And I always told myself every day I had to get up to go to work. I was like, all right, cool. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Just a necessary learning learning standpoint that I had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like I went to training camp with the AAF, and every day I just wore my Stanley Steamer shirt, just a reminder of like what I don't want to go back to doing. And so, ended up becoming one of the best players in that league. Signed to the Carolina Panthers, and then things didn't work out over there, and I ended up playing in XFL. The rest is history.
Right. I
Hmm.
mean, it's so inspiring. I follow this man named Inky Johnson. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
He talks about that. He talks about like he wanted to overcome so many obstacles. He wanted to help his family. He wanted to help his community because he came from
Hmm.
a one home with all these families in one home. And right before, I think he had 3 more games left, and he was going to be a top 10.
Hmm.
Got injured, and it's kind of unbelievable that something like that would happen. And he talks about being committed to the process and not the outcome. And I listen to him almost every day. And it remind me of him because you're talking about certain things where this could have drove somebody else to, be addicted to drugs or, get addicted to alcohol or just, throw away their whole life because of the ups and downs. But because nobody told us that the path to success wasn't going to be like that. I thought you had a goal.
Man, you ain't lying because like, I think about it now. It's like if somebody would have told me that I'll be 31 in a month. Me at 31 had to go through all that when I was like 15. Probably thought they were lying because it's like if you work if you work hard, good things are supposed to come to you. And like I sit back and reflect on how hard I was working and like nothing good was coming to me and things like that. And I was like, man, how did I find the energy, the grit or whatever just to see the end goal and just work through all the BS and all the negativity and things of that nature that I had to get through to get to the point where I'm at now. And it's like, man, I can't believe I got through that, you know?
It just shows your inner strength. It's like your inner beast. Eric Thomas calls it the lion.
Right.
Inky talks about that too, where when he graduated, he had to go back home to the same shack that he never go back to. And he was like, if he could do it again, because he did that, he helped so many more people.
Yeah.
He would do it again. He would do it all over again. He doesn't regret it because the crazy part is like the darkest moments is where you grow the most. And
right.
Like I had all these goals too, and stuff was happening with my family, deaths and stuff like that. And I'm like, why is this stuff like random stuff? And I realized that I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for that, mentally, emotionally. Like I see a lot of attorneys right now, they are like really, I would say, bougie. Like they're not connected to the community.
Right.
They don't appreciate. Okay, so like until you go through stuff, you lack appreciation, you lack being grateful, all of this stuff. So I feel like I needed that to get where I'm trying to go. Like I'm really focused on helping athletes who really don't want to forget where they came from, because that's what I talk about. And I feel like you are definitely one of those athletes that all of the stuff you went through, you literally made lemons out of lemonade, and it's still a process,
Right.
But I think that your podcast and I think that your voice is like so much greater than what people thought it was.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and it's crazy because like one of my coaches, Al Grew at Georgia Tech, he was always telling me like you might not say a lot, but a lot of people look to you for like inspiration. I'm like, get out of here. But it didn't that didn't hit me until I would go back to my hometown. I do like football camps and things of that nature, and just seeing like the people who will come out and just people who's like, oh yeah, man, I look to you for inspiration, or like you did it, you went to Georgia Tech, and nobody thought you would go to like a school of that nature and whatever, and now you're in the NFL doing big things, and I was like, all right, cool. I finally see what he was actually telling me. So
Oh yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
listen, the odds. If you talk about the odds, like you
Hmm.
all odds, like because
Right.
you know, and it's also it's like a definition of success. Um, Success according to so I read Think and Grow Rich and Earl Nightingale. He talks about success,
Hmm.
progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it's not one thing you hit. It's me. It's like you have a goal and you're working towards that goal. I feel like you've been consistently working towards it, and you've been sharing that gift. Let's talk about your community service because
Hmm.
people who some people like you literally give back to the community to this
Yeah.
still. I recently saw that you did you let a girl have um, a shopping spree in a toy store, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's so dope. Like because she got straight A's, it's the pandemic. Like
Hmm.
I just feel like that's success to me. When you get
Yeah.
that, that's success.
Yeah. So like I know growing up and stuff, like I knew I wanted to be like the guys that, gave back to their communities and stuff when they do like shopping sprees or whatever and hold down like the long ass receipts and stuff. So I've always wanted to do that and I've been able to do that for the past couple of years and stuff. And it's always like I get more joy out of that than they do it because it's just so fun to seeing the excitement on people's faces and just like the kids and stuff. They're like, I know when Toys R Us was like a big thing before they got shut down last year, just seeing them run across the store, pick out all the toys and things of that nature. And I'm trying to, you know, play with them and also hoping that, they'll get too much because of having to pull that debit card out and stuff. But it's always fun, and I just see the excitement and joy on their faces, and that's what I get out of it. Even though, like, yeah, it might cost a lot, but it's you never know what that's going to do for a family that's going through it. Because I was once, that family that, damn, are we going to have Christmas this year or Thanksgiving, or am I going to have decent clothes for the upcoming school year, things of that nature. So it's just like all those things that I have that happened to me in my past and my childhood and adolescence that I want to help, other families not have to go through that. Just somewhat just make that the holidays just a little bit easier for people. And
Mm.
so yeah, now what I'm working on to I'm getting I just left my old job last week to get into software development. And so kids back at home can not only just focus on athletics, but can focus on things like coding, software development, things of that nature. So that's still in the mix right now. So I'm not trying to do. I got to finish what I got to do on my end first to be able to help those kids. But yeah, just giving back to the community. It's such a great feeling. I don't understand why people don't do it more often, but it's super fun.
Man, they said it's the gift that keeps giving for real. Like
Hmm.
I like 2 months after I graduated law school, I started the law camp.
Hmm.
I didn't even pass the bar yet. I didn't have money. I ended up just attracting everybody in the city to give.
Hmm.
But you know, teaching people about the system and giving them other opportunities, like you said, they didn't even know that they could be lawyers because you know people tell them that they can't. I asked them what do they think a lawyer looks like.
Hmm.
So I feel like you keep talking about giving back. You're talking about your family. You're talking about your what I want to kind of piece together. So the stuff happened. With
Hmm.
he was speaking out about it.
Hmm.
From you said Alabama, right?
Yeah.
What was going on in your community? What was going on in your family that you felt like you wanted to solve, even as a little kid? Like you wanted to fix it.
Um, One thing I wanted to fix was like I wanted my parents to be together, but it took me getting older to understand like that might not happen because they hated each other. But just
Mm,
being able just to fix my like what can I say? My my surroundings to be honest, because I didn't grow up in the best of neighborhoods, things of that nature, like violence and things of that nature, like all around. I can tell you a quick story. Like before I went to go stay at my father, I had a best friend named Otis, and me and Otis was like around each other all the time. Like everywhere we went, from like third to fourth grade, I believe. Third, yeah, third and second grade, where everywhere we go to going everywhere with each other. And then I left to go stay with my father, me and my siblings and stuff. And the week after I left, Otis and some friends that he was hanging out with beat up like an old man for like $30. But he ended up getting sentenced and faced like 15 years in prison after that. But lo and behold, no one think my mom told me that, and I was like, man, I would have been with Otis. I would have been all around him. Would have got caught up in all that, and I would not had the success that I've had up to this point. So getting back to that, but just changing my surroundings, being able to help change other people's surroundings and things of that nature. So that's one of the things that really just clicked for me. Just like, all right, cool, I gotta change something about what I'm going through.
You know what? That's a really deep story about your friend, because it seems like he really made an impact on you.
Yeah.
Really a tragedy. So I talk about stuff like that with my social justice advising, because Black people can feel helpless in certain situations because of these systemic issues. And I talk about economic violence, which if you're talking about the neighborhood, I'm pretty sure there was poverty, there was lack of jobs, there was redlining. So there's all racial barriers that are on the community, and these barriers cause issues like trying to take $30. You see what I'm saying? Is built from another issue. So I like the dominoes of oppression.
Right.
So Otis is one of that stuff fell on him, and his response and his friends, they're like, we need some money, let's go get it. So about fixing those dominoes, those first dominoes. And I think that athletes and people like myself, we have the power. We just need the information to help change. It is a tragedy. And then, you know, he shouldn't have got charged like talk about the system and all this stuff. And that's why I think I know what I'm doing is important. So I offer like free social justice advising for everybody who's watching. Free social justice advising for pro athletes, people like TJ, others, WNBA, you know, whatever the case may be. And what I do is I listen to their concerns, issues that they grew up with, issues that they have from back home or where they live now, and basically give solutions based on my legal expertise as a criminal defense attorney, social justice expert, and a prison abolitionist. That's a tragedy. You know, that's a tragedy that happened to him. And people don't understand when our kids are being taken out of our homes, going to the juvenile, aging out, going to prison, it really ruins full families, full communities and stuff like that. And I talk about this all the time. I talk about Black men like yourself, my brother, other people I know. And I say, like, the fact that you even made it out of high school, you don't understand how big that is, because systemically, you are not supposed to make it out. Systemically, you're supposed to either end up in dead or jail. And then to make it out of college, to make it to the pros, is huge. Like, this does not happen. You literally made it past every obstacle against you. And that's why I was asking, that's the reason why I talked about confidence, talked about persevering, overcoming, because I know. So I can look at your results and tell what your routine is, what your life is like. Because if you don't have that, unfortunately, Black men can't coast. You know, if you're just coasting or floating, you become a victim to system in a society. So I just want to commend you for all of that you've made it through, and that you're yet to create. You just said you're about to be 31.
Yeah, I'll be 31 next month. So
you know, 30 is the new. So
I know I was kind of scared turning 30 last year, because I'm like, man, I'm getting old or whatever. But I'm like, now it's like, man, I'm 30 with money, so it's like, all right, cool. I actually, you know, do a little bit more things of that nature. So, and I have tons of more years to go. So
yeah, I mean, I think that you're making impacts. You're making an impact with your own family, with the community, like you did last year and like you do every year, with your team and with your podcast. Like, I can't wait to see, you know, what you have coming up on that. So I think it's only up from here. What do you feel like you've learned from my page, and what can I do more better to serve athletes like yourself, or, you know, educate and do things like that?
Up until I met you, I've only seen like one, you know, Black female lawyer in my whole life, and I was just like a former a friend of mine who I went to school with. So it's just like that in itself is all right, cool. It's like it's really impactful, and it just some of the stuff that you post is like, all right, cool. It lines up with what I was telling you about with the whole Colin Kaepernick. It just inspires me just to speak up more, and just to, talk about certain things that might be a little bit edgy to some demographics, but it's the right thing to talk about. Just speak up about whether it's social injustice or some things that are going with prison reform and things of that nature. So just that whole influence right there, like you inspire me just to be better, and not alone just all right, cool. Like I have a daughter, and it's all right, cool. You can be a lawyer, you can be whatever you want to be, and things of that nature. So and just things like that are just really inspiring that I can just take from and just put into myself and put into my family and whatnot. So
Awesome.
mhm.
Well, I, like I said, I feel like I've literally been writing notes from everything, and it's a girl named Inky Brittany. She's gonna like make a graphic of everything you said. You literally gave us him, so everybody, seriously,
Mhm.
like if y'all want to watch this again, make sure you check in the IG live. Make sure you follow him, click his link, follow him, subscribe to the podcast. It's in the link in bio, and we'll be looking out for you, TJ. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.